Hi guys, so as you know, we're on a road trip at the moment, and I basically wanted to show you guys how we road trip for super cheap and show you guys all of our little tips and tricks. So right now we're at a gas station in Orlando, getting ready to head off all the way to San Francisco. So without further ado, this is how you road trip for super cheap. Okay, so one of the steps on how we keep this road trip super cheap is that we're actually buying all of our food together, and we actually bought a little kitchen cooker with like a gas canister and stuff that's in there. But all of our groceries, pretty much, we split the money to buy a bunch of food that's gonna last us pretty much throughout the trip. Our goal is to try to not eat out even one time. We want to just, you know, just completely do the whole entire road trip by cooking our own food. So we've come here to the back of a parking lot gas station, and we're gonna make omelets, and I'm gonna show you how we do. So this is our little gas canister, and this is basically our stove top. And we plop this on this, and we have little pots and pans that we just cook all of our meals right on. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you freaking road trip. Check it out. Got an omelet cooking on here, and this cost us $5 for just the bottle of the omelet, and that's it. And we're all full, and we're all hungry, and we're all delicious. So a lot of people underestimate how much money you could actually save when you're just eating here. The cost, when you really break it down by numbers, when we did our math, if we're splitting for food and groceries all together and cooking all of our food every single day, it'll cut us down about $250 just from food. Eating at restaurants can cost a lot of money, especially in the US where you have to leave a tip. So this is a fantastic way to save a crap ton of money. So we're at the Grand Canyon right now. Beautiful view. We're sitting down having lunch. Just to add on to the whole food thing is that you know, you could leave the Grand Canyon right here and easily go spend like $20 to $30 on a meal at lunch or at a restaurant or whatever. We're sitting here. This has cost us what, $5 to make? You get your pans, you get your gas canister, you get some oil. We're having lunch in the most beautiful view for absolutely free. So we are graciously leaving the hosts that hosted us here in New Orleans, Louisiana. And this is a good time to talk about step number 2 of keeping it cheap on a road trip. What we've made kind of like the essence of this trip is trying to not pay for accommodation whatsoever. So we reached out to a bunch of people along the way that we knew the route we're gonna take, and we're trying to be hosted at every single place. Obviously, this is not the easiest thing in the world to do, but it's definitely possible. Especially, you can reach out to people on places like Couchsurfing and Airbnb and a bunch of things to see if there's other accommodations. Go on various Facebook groups. Just make sure where you're going is safe. Just from the immense amount of traveling I've done within the US, I've been able to make connections for people to host me. So we pretty much got the hookup here, and we got a hookup in Texas and California. Wherever we go, we pretty much got a place covered. Alrighty, so one of the final parts on how to save money while you're traveling on a road trip is we're on the way back home right now, and we're searching up for gas prices using the app GasBuddy. GasBuddy basically narrows down all of the gas stations in the surrounding area to you, and you can kind of look at it and track and see what's the cheapest way to fill up gas. And besides just finding the cheap gas stations, the fact that we're traveling as a group of 3 people together means that we can split the gas prices all together. So the biggest thing that I wanted to say about traveling cheap with road trips is it's almost only possible if you do it with a group of people. It'll be very expensive to make it cheap when you're by yourself. But regardless, this is GasBuddy. And it's basically, we're looking at it on a map of where we are. We're driving right now on the I-10. We're about 80 miles from Houston, and we're just looking here trying to track down the best gas stations, and we had found one. When we get there, we're gonna show you guys how we actually do the whole shindig. So we've made it to the nearest gas station that was the cheapest price, and basically we've come here to a Shell gas station. The price is $1.99, and basically all the other gas stations in the area are currently like $2 to $2.10 to $2.13. So we kind of a little bit out of our way, maybe like a minute away out of our route to come fill up here. So just a quick note about GasBuddy: make sure that the gas stations you go and fill up with are updated to at least maybe 2 to 5 hours between, because if it's updated to less than a day, we've had instances where we've driven a little bit out of our way to get gas and the price hasn't been the same. So just make sure those things are updated. Then you just fill up gas like normal. And we're back. We're here in Florida. We're back. That was the end of an amazing road trip. It's actually been like 3 weeks now, but we're just getting the chance to sit down and discuss everything. So this was supposed to be a guide to show you guys how you can do what we did as well. Now we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty little bits and stuff of what we wanted to talk about, explaining some of the costs, some of our drawbacks, some of the benefits, some of the things we liked, and just give you all straight just here. I'm surprised, why didn't I give you any money? Didn't I owe you?
So, okay, Moshe, let me explain how it works.
So basically, the duration of the trip, Jack was keeping a spreadsheet, kind of logging in all the costs that we spent individually and together collectively as a group. We're gonna bring up some of those numbers now. Okay, so our total collective cost of the trip was how much, Jack?
It was $1,035.25.
And divided between the three of us?
And between the three of us, that equals $345.08 for each of us.
Think about that number. 11 days of pure adventure, every day waking up in a new city. We visited sites like the Grand Canyon and New Orleans and San Francisco and California. We got to see some amazing sights of the United States, and we did it for under 500 bucks.
Don't forget Mexico.
Each.
And Mexico. We entered another country.
Yeah, so our main expenses came down to gas, though. I'd estimate, like, we didn't keep track of what everything was for, but around $700 to $800 was just for gas.
Wow.
So that's like a huge chunk of what we actually spent.
That's crazy.
And then about $100 was for food, really. A little over $100, like maybe $150.
So let's talk about some of the downsides to doing it this way, because obviously there were plenty and it got a little stressful at points. For me personally, it's as a person who travels a lot, I love tasting the food in different places that I go. So not having the availability to stop by and like just grab a snack or grab this from this specific location, you know, something that's unique to this place, that was kind of a downside to it for me. But when I look at the numbers of just how much money we saved, the fact that we only spent over $100, you know, I could easily spend that in 2 days on food in another trip. So the fact that we did that much just shows me that it was worth it.
And then my big negative was like our sleeping conditions.
Yeah.
Just when we were able to stay by a friend's house, it worked out. It was very nice. But when we had to sleep on our own was where, and this is how we also saved a lot of money. We only spent for sleeping. We spent $45 for a hotel for one night. We only stayed in a hotel one night. And then we stayed in a camping ground for one night also, and I believe, how much was it?
It was like 30 bucks.
$30. So in total, our sleeping expense was like $75.
Yeah, and collectively throughout all of us, it's like 20 bucks a pop, right?
Yeah.
A little over 20 bucks a pop.
And we only slept for, you know, in those types of places or in those types of environments for 2 nights.
Yeah. What about you?
Just the fact that we were in the car most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, car time.
Being in an uncomfortable state constantly.
Yeah.
It's just a downside, but save money, you know?
So let's talk for a second about some of the benefits of doing it this way. Obviously, there's the cost.
Yeah, first thing is cost.
I think the biggest thing is cost. This is the way I look at it, is cost to experience, you know, value, is how much it cost for what we actually got in return was unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
At least for me, unbelievable. Everything we got to do, from the seals, to seeing the Golden Gate Bridge, to walking through Japantown, to Grand Canyon and going to Mexico, all of this stuff packed into one trip for such a cheap price was just, that was the value for me. That was the biggest benefit, I think.
Yeah, I think that's all of them.
Across the board?
Time-wise also, though, like we did it within, what, 11 days?
That's true.
We had to see how many
Crossing
places.
the country twice.
Yeah.
Twice. So that's pretty insane.
Here's a simple question to ask, is would you guys do something like this again?
For sure.
No.
No?
No.
I think I would, given it would be in a different country. I don't know if I would do it across the United States again. That's for sure.
Definitely not in the United States.
In a different country, yes, but in the US, I'd like to, next time I do something like this, take more leisure time, less. Also, they needed to get back to school because we were on spring break.
On the way back from California to Florida,
No, my God.
we did 2 straight days of driving.
And I didn't film much of it because we were done.
Yeah, we were so
dead.
dead.
It was just like, that's the end of that vlog that you guys saw with the seals, was just very sporadic. Because I was like, you know, we would sleep in these odd hours of the day. We're always driving. The car's always on for 24 hours at a time. We're just going and going and going. So with that, we're going to wrap up this trip. This was an amazing, incredible experience. I'm really glad we got a chance to do it. I think we were a killer team to put this thing together and to pull it off. I don't know other people that I wouldn't be able to actually do this with. And so make sure you guys follow our steps on this. If you guys have any questions, make sure you can leave them down below. It's the first time watching one of these videos. You make sure you can subscribe and you can turn on a little notification button so you get notifications, because we make tips like this. I don't know,
I make tips.
I make tips like this all the time, showing you guys how to budget travel around the world. And I'll see you guys next time. I love you long time, Clatt. Goodbye.